welcome to the final concert for the Auburn bands this academic year. This is our campus band on the quasi stage we have here for you. It's the third of our 3 concert bands. It's a non-audition group, so if there's some college students out there and you played an instrument in high school and want to get involved and you're a little bit nervous about auditions, then this is one you may consider. So we don't require one for this ensemble, and would love to have you get involved if you would like. Not quite as much of a time commitment as some of the others as well. And we have majors, non-majors participating in all of our bands, so you don't have to be a music major to play in a concert band. So sitting out there with those credentials, please consider it, and certainly super appreciative of these students for sharing their time and talent. Obviously they're in some very difficult other courses throughout the year, and it means a lot to us in the band faculty to have them performing in our ensembles and contributing. Many of them also in marching band and played in pep bands, have played in other concert bands and jazz ensembles and whatnot when their schedules have allowed. So it's really pretty special that they continue to share their talents in this way. Thanks for your flexibility with the space. We know it's a little cramped in here. The GPAC's awesome, but we only get a certain number of dates. Many people don't know that. We only get a certain number of dates that we can utilize to perform in there, and it's not cheap. Quite expensive for our music department budget, so we have to get creative with some of our performances. Obviously very blessed to have a band hall this big where we can perform in there when we need to. So thanks for your flexibility. Some of you are fanning, so sorry it's a little warm with all these people in here. This group is conducted by our graduate teaching assistants. We could not run the band program without these individuals, and they do a phenomenal job both teaching but also helping us with all the administrative tasks that we have associated with all the bands. They're wonderful music educators in their own right, but they're also students, and they're also great help to us with all the administration stuff. So they're all going to conduct for you different pieces this afternoon. The first piece is titled Zoom. It's composed by Scott Borma. Scott's a collegiate band director at Western Michigan and was at once the marching band director at the University of Michigan. And he and a couple of other buddies had a regular Zoom call during COVID. We were all trying to maintain our sanity at that point, so we all got on the Zoom with our friends and colleagues. And one of the things that these 4 individuals talked about is how anxious they were to get back to teaching and making live music with all their students and performing and whatnot. And they made this reference at one point on the Zoom call that it was kind of like being in a race car, but you're stuck at the start line just revving your engine, just waiting to go, right? And so when all those restrictions were limited and everybody was able to get back to work, step on the gas and here we go. It's time to make music again, and it's time to perform again. And so thus the title of the piece, Zoom. Well, Scott was asked to write a piece for Jamie Nix, who is a good friend of ours, an alum of Auburn actually, that's over at Columbus State. His 10th year anniversary at Columbus State, his students commissioned a piece and asked Scott to write it. And so it seemed appropriate at that time to give it that title and reflect back on their discussions back during COVID about what it meant to zoom and rev the engines. Very appropriate piece to start the concert. So without further ado, please welcome the first of our TAs, and actually the person who's been the overseer of this group, the instructor of record this semester for the group. This is Chris Udell. Please welcome the campus band. Many of you are familiar with Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and there's a number of different musical compositions based on the storyline and the various novels. If you were at the Simwin's concert band performance on Thursday night, you heard one of the other movements of this same piece, the one that's based off Gandalf, the character of Gandalf. This is the Hobbit's movement of the Lord of the Rings suite, written by Johann de May for wind band. And it's sort of a musical journey in ways. At the beginning, what you hear, think in terms of the playfulness of the hobbits, the lightheartedness, the hustle and bustle of the Shire. And then as the piece kind of progresses, it moves more into the grandeur of the whole epic journey that they are going to embark on. So you kind of think Shire to Misty Mountains. If you've watched the movies and read the novel, you'll kind of hear the piece transition and tell that story from beginning to end. It's really an interesting replication of the narrative. Conducting this piece, again, done a great job this year as one of our GTAs. Please welcome Sebastian Lozano. programming traditions of the concert band that we try to uphold as much as we can here at Auburn. It's a big part of the heritage and tradition of these types of ensembles. So the next piece is just that, a march. It's actually a British march, which has a little bit different feel than the typical Sousa American march, some of which you heard Thursday night and some of our previous concerts that we've had this year. This one's written by William Latham, who served at Brighton Beach in World War II. And so thus the title of the piece. So it's kind of a reflection back on a period of a military service in his life, but also has this little bit of sense of military victory to it. But I think you'll enjoy it. It's a very popular march for wind bands. Please welcome to the stage our next graduate teaching assistant, Lynn Washington. Bryant is an award-winning composer. He's done quite a bit recently that's played a lot in bands. And read his descriptions of this piece that we're about to play, Dusk. He talks about this duality of not only the fiery sunset, we all love sunsets, we have some beautiful ones around here, but the duality of the sunset mixed with the time of day. It's a peaceful time of day for a lot of people. The day is starting to wind down. A lot of our most challenging tasks are behind us. It's a time of day that's usually dedicated to family more so than work, and there's a certain calm. When I think of that, obviously Stephen did not have 3 young kids that you're trying to get to different activities. Well, let's cram down our dinner real quick and grab the glove and get to t-ball practice, right? That's my life. That's not necessarily the most peaceful part of the day. But for him it was, and he thinks about, looking at a sunset and the day kind of being behind him, not only the beauty of what he's seeing, but also the feeling of calm that he really has. So it's a completely lyrical, really slow, pretty piece. I think you'll enjoy it. Maybe it's sort of that time of day, right? It gives us a moment for some reflection. That's why I got my notes. Chris is today. So please welcome back to the stage, Chris Uday. us at the Thursday night concert as well. Just take a moment to acknowledge any students that we have on stage that are performing for our band program for the last time, graduating and moving on. Do we have anybody in that category on stage? Would you stand so we can recognize anybody that's doing their last performance with the Auburn Band? Accomplishment, all the contributions, like I said, many of them in multiple ensembles throughout their time here at Auburn, contributed in so many different ways. To understand our last piece, you just have to look to the title, Translated Cuban Dances. Dance, and particularly rhythm, are such an important component of Afro-Cuban music. And so Robert Sheldon has just attempted to sort of bring this to life with this wind band composition. Really fun way to end the program. And so for one last time, let's welcome back to the stage Lynn Washington.
great time. We're going to keep them for about 2 more minutes while we talk through things, and we hope to see you back in the fall. Thanks so much.